Money has rules, and if you go against the rules of money, money will elude you. Just like the earth has the law of gravity, and if you don't respect it, you will crash. Money has rules, and the rich have learned how to flow along with the rules and not against them. The rich have taken advantage of these rules and become rich while they have kept you in the dark about them. So if you understand these rules and apply them in your life, you will completely have your life transformed, and becoming wealthy will just become a matter of time. It will become inevitable. So come on, let's go through them, because all 9 are very important. Rule number 1, pay yourself first. Now, this of course depends on what position you're in. If you're an employee, then you can't pay yourself first, because do you know who gets paid first? The government. They take off their taxes, they get paid first, but you have the option of paying yourself second. If you're an employer, you own a business, then you actually have the option of paying yourself first. Paying yourself first means putting aside a particular percentage of your income into a designated account. This is very important. This account could be a savings account, an emergency funds account, a retirement account, or a goal-oriented account. Maybe you have particular goals, maybe business goals. It's very important that this money goes there first. Now, this is money that you actually put beside even before you pay your bills. It's very important, because when you're paying bills, you're not paying yourself, isn't it? You're paying other people. You're paying for electricity, you're paying for water. You're not paying yourself. It's important that you have an amount of money that is reserved for you, because that's what you're going to use to take yourself forward. Now, what's the perfect figure? The perfect figure is not written down in stone, but it can be anything between 10 and 20%. That's like the sweet spot. If you can do better than that, then that's perfect. But ideally, 10% should be the minimum and 20% should be the maximum. So how do you maximize how much you pay yourself? Because remember, that's going to be the primary way you're going to get yourself rich. Ideally, this is how you deal with your money. At the beginning, when you receive your income, you will take away the percentage you've already designated to pay yourself first. Let's say it's 10%. It's your savings. Let's call it savings in this case. Then after that, you're going to take away your bills. Whatever you're going to be left, that's income minus savings minus bills, is what you call spendable money. You know, the money that you can spend on going to restaurants and things like that. Money that's not part of your bills and money that's not part of your savings. That's the amount of money you have to play around with and spend. You need to make sure that then you figure out a way of reducing how much you spend on things that are not your bills. You understand? Not electricity, not on your phone calls, maybe buying new clothes, you know, maybe going and eating out in a restaurant. How much can you cut down on that as much as possible, so that then you direct that money into paying yourself first? You direct that money into your savings, you direct that money into your retirement account. How do you direct that? That's how you maximize paying yourself first. So the best advice is that you need to make sure that you can find a way of automating paying yourself first. How can you do this? There's different ways of doing that. Number 1, you can agree with your employer that after the taxes have been taken off, whatever is supposed to be sent to you can then be split up and sent to 2 different accounts. One of them being your checking account, and the other one your savings account, investment account, whatever you choose to do with paying yourself first. The second way is having it in such a way that as soon as money gets to your account, then it's transferred directly from your account to another account. You know, your savings account, your investment account. You need to make sure that it's automated in one way or another, that on a particular day of the month, maybe if you receive your payment on the 30th of every month, you can automate it that every second of the next month, a 10% or 5% or 20%, whatever you've decided, will be sent to your other account. Rule number 2, build multiple income streams. The poor will usually have one income stream, and it's usually tied to their time. They will exchange their time for money. The rich, on the other side, will have multiple streams of income, and they try to make sure that they are independent of their time. If you have multiple streams of income, it decreases the risk on your side, because different industries will usually have different risks, and things can happen to different industries at different times. If one industry crashes, you actually still have another 1 or 2 or 3 different industries that will push you through the difficult times. Also, having multiple income streams ensures that you can generate passive income. Passive income is money that you generate while you're sleeping, while you're resting, while you're playing golf, while you're relaxing with your children. You're actually making money. So making money is not being tied to your time. So what are some of the multiple income streams? One of the options is through investments. So here you can do stocks, you can do bonds, you can do real estate. Investments are awesome because a lot of them, despite the fact that the margins are not so huge, it's not like you're going to have a 50% growth on your income every year. Probably 6, 7, 10% 10%, you're very sure that you're going to actually have this percentage. It's very secure, it's going to be there, and it's going to multiply. The other alternative is businesses, and the wealthy people will invest in a lot of businesses. Now, businesses are actually riskier than doing investments, but businesses have the potential of growing your wealth very quickly. You can grow 100, 200, 300 fold in 1 year, depending on how lucky you are, how much effort you put in, and how well you understand the field in which you actually do decide to invest. Rule number 3, use debt wisely. The poor usually take out terrible high interest consumer debt. They'll take out credit card debt where they are paying 10, 20, 30% on televisions, consumer things that are very useless. They're not going to increase your wealth in one way or another. The rich, on the other side, use debt very wisely. One of the ways of using debt is actually using it to expand an existing business. They have a business that's already present, it's performing really well, and then they get an investment option, they get an opportunity where they want to expand the business. So they'll go take out debt and they utilize this debt to make sure the business is expanding. Now, this is actually a very wise way of using debt because number one, it ensures that they're not paying taxes, because when you're using debt, you don't have to pay taxes on the debt, on the money that you're actually spending. But number two, it also ensures that they can negotiate for very low interest on their debt, because the banks do trust their abilities to pay back the debt. So the rich don't take out debt to start businesses, which is something very common with poor people. They'll get a debt, they'll go to a bank and get a loan to start a business. Usually it will be a high interest debt because the bank doesn't trust your ability to actually start the business and run the business. It's very well known information that 90% of all businesses that start will not be existing 10 years from the point they started. So the risk is very high. The wealthy ensure that when they are taking out debt, they are putting it in businesses that are already successful and they're expanding them, and that also ensures that they get very low interest on that debt. The other way that they use debt is by taking out no salaries. People like Elon Musk, for example, he doesn't pay himself. He has no salary. If he wants to spend money, then he goes to the bank and then he will get a loan against his Tesla stock, and then he will use that money, spend that money whichever way he wants, because that money is not taxed. The government will not tax you on a debt that you've got from a bank. And so he'll use the money whichever way that he wants. So the rich use debt very wisely, while the poor have no idea how to use debt, and they use debt very terribly. Rule number 4. The rich minimize tax legally. Notice that I've talked about legally minimizing tax, not evading tax. Did you know that your greatest expense is actually your taxes? About 30 to 40% of all the money you earn every month actually goes to taxes. It will depend on which country you're in, but a big percentage of what you earn goes to your taxes. Now, governments on the other side love people who grow the economy. And who are the people who usually expand and grow the economy? It is the rich people, and the government will do everything that they can to incentivize these people to grow the economy as much as possible. And so that means that the government will find ways of giving them tax breaks to ensure that they are still motivated to do things that increase the economy. So if you're an employee, depending on the country that you're in, you'll pay about 30 to 40% tax. If you're a small business owner, it even becomes worse for you, because not only do you have to pay your own tax, you also have to contribute tax for the employees that you have in your business. So that means your tax can increase to 50, 60% tax. But if you're a big business owner, then your taxes significantly decrease, because then the government incentivizes you to try and make sure that you remain in business and you contribute to the economy. So the big business owners usually will have tax breaks, and they can pay up to maybe 20% tax. And then if you're an investor, a very huge investor, and you understand how to do the tax game, you can even do 0% tax. The governments, depending on which country you're in, actually have ways of ensuring that you pay 0% tax. Rule number 5, the rich continuously invest in themselves. Did you know that the average CEO reads 60 books a year? That means on average they read 5 books a month. Look at yourself. Look at the poor people you know. How many books do they manage to read a month? Maybe none. So the rich invest a lot of time and effort and money into improving their knowledge and improving their skills. I'll give you an example. Imagine that the world economy grows at a rate of maybe 3% every year. So if you're not improving yourself at 3% every year, then you're stagnating. You're actually laying behind. You're regressing. If you're improving yourself only at a rate of 2% every year, that means you're falling behind. If you're improving yourself also only at a rate of 3% every year, then that means you're becoming stagnant. You're not improving. For you to actually improve yourself and become better, it means that you need to make sure that your skills, your knowledge, and everything are going up at a rate of greater than 3% every year. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind. And in the world, currently, there's a lot of competition. People are competing to remain relevant and to make sure that they are at the top. So if you're consistently being the same and not getting better each and every year, then you're going to be left behind. And what's going to happen? You're going to end up being broke, because people only pay for value. People will only get their money out and spend on things that they find valuable. So if you don't change and increase your value, then you're going to be left behind. So the rich will spend a lot of their time and money on books, seminars, networking, even doing formal education to ensure that they are not being left behind. Rule number 6, the rich continuously surround themselves with great minds. Now, it's no secret that the people you surround yourself with influence you very greatly. In life, we are consistently learning. But who are you learning from? The rich ensure that they are consistently surrounding themselves with great people, because from great people, you can learn from both their successes and their failures. They will look at their failures, see the mistakes they made, they'll share with them and learn and understand the mistakes that they have to avoid along the path. So the rich will build networks. There are very different ways of building networks. Number one, they can form professional groups at work or whichever field they're in, and in there they can share ideas and thoughts of how to make themselves better. They also attend industry events, workshops, seminars to ensure that they are consistently sharpening their skills and making themselves better. They also attend mentorship programs, and these ensure that they are consistently learning and not making the same mistakes. It also ensures that they have accountability, people they account to consistently ensure that they have the drive to get to the top. Rule number 7, think long term. The poor only think about tomorrow. They only think about tomorrow's meal. They only think about 1 month from now. The rich will think about 5-10 years from now. Why? Because that provides security and comfort. It takes away the risk of something that could happen tomorrow and you're incapacitated and you're unable to work, and then suddenly you're unable to live. The rich will think about compound interest. For example, if you're thinking long term, you know that your money is going to multiply over a long time and you're going to have money. They think about investment returns, because these returns over a very long time actually accumulate and become something really big that can become of very good impact and change your life forever. The rich prioritize their reputation over the quick results of a short-term deal. The poor will spend their time and effort only thinking about a short-term deal, and sometimes they don't care how they treat a client, how they treat someone, as long as they're getting the money in the short time, which is actually a very terrible way of making money, because that ensures that you never become rich. If you think about your reputation and the long term and how you can actually get these people to consistently come back to you, but also to attract other people to come to you, then you will become rich. Number 8, the rich maintain a healthy balance between risk and reward. Now, generally, the rule is that the higher the potential for reward, the higher the risk. Now, what the poor do is that they will either completely dive into something that's very risky because it has a very high potential of reward, or they will completely sulk out. They won't try to do anything about it because they're like, it's too risky, it doesn't make sense, I won't try it at all. The rich understand how to balance the two. They know how to diversify their portfolio between, for example, different industries. If one industry is riskier than the other, then they will weigh, decide how much money to put into the more risky one and then the safer one, and then they will continuously review it to ensure that, they are consistently changing. If one becomes a bit more risky, then they're like, well, I think the risk is now too much for me to bear. I'll take some of the money out and take it to this side, which has a little bit less risk. So they are consistently reviewing their portfolio. Same thing, if it's investment, it doesn't matter whether it's investment or business, they are consistently reviewing the risk and consistently dividing the portion of their money and asset to ensure that it's balanced between the different risk grades. Rule number 9, the rich seek for professional advice. The poor think that if you don't know something, or if you're seeking for information, then you're insufficient. Then for some reason, you're not good enough. The rich, on the other side, understand that you can't know everything, and there will always be people who are better than you at particular aspects. So they will seek for different viewpoints because they understand that people can see and understand things from different opinions, different perspectives, in ways that they would never have imagined. And so because of that, you'll find that the rich consistently are even hiring financial managers, despite the fact that they're even richer than these financial managers. So the rich are consistently seeking for mentorship, seeking to make sure that they are better and getting the best professional advice. So if you've enjoyed this video, I trust that you like this video right here, where I talk about the things you should do if you're broke. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell. Catch you very soon with another video. Bye.